I'm AC Brown, and you're listening to Is My Aura On Straight, a podcast designed to help you start living from your core instead of your conditioning. Each week, we'll discuss topics ranging from human design, astrology, metaphysics, spiritual self-development, and everything in between. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Is My Aura On Straight. I am your host, AC Brown. I am your spiritual doula, intuitive strategist, human design expert, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Is My Aura On Straight. Now, today's episode is highly requested, just like all of the other aura types, but this is the projector episode. And the title of this episode is Projectors. You've been here before and it shows, and I'm going to tell you why. Tons of projector friends of mine have been DMing me asking when is the projector episode coming out. Well, here it is. So grab your pen and your piece of paper, take notes, save your questions for the Wednesday night Is My Aura On Straight on Instagram Live if you have any, and I'll answer them there. And, like I said, in all of the other aura specific episodes, even if you're not a projector, please listen so you can, maybe if you have a projector in your family and you want to, just get a little bit more insight about them and how they operate, and what makes them them and who they are, etc. I'm not going to make this an extra long podcast because I'm a projector and I can talk for days. I know a lot about all of the aura types, but of course this is near and dear to my heart because I'm a projector. So let's get started. So what makes a projector? So there's a few things that make a projector. Of course, the main things, projectors have two or more defined centers. We have no motor to the throat. Now we can have a defined throat, or what I call projector unicorns, who have defined throat centers, which, in human design, the throat center is the manifestation center for a various amount of reasons, which I'll be talking about some of the centers in a center-specific podcast. So, tune in for that. And of course, we have a undefined sacral center. So projectors, manifestors, and reflectors, we don't have any sustainable energy because of that undefined sacral center. So what are projectors here to do? We are here to guide and direct other people and other people's energy. What is our strategy? Of course, it is to be invited, so invitations, or to be recognized. Now, in the meantime, this is where projectors have a little bit of issues, is when you're not getting invited or you're not getting recognized, you are here to follow your bliss. Or like I say, Will Smith, he coined this term on, I believe it was Tavis Smiley's show a long time ago, but he said it best, and this is perfect for projectors. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, because when that recognition, when that opportunity, when that invitation comes, you want to be prepared. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So since we don't have any sustainable energy, there's a huge, lazy myth about us. A lot of projector children have probably heard that they are lazy. And it's not because we're lazy. We just don't have any sustainable energy. And that whole saying, I don't feel like it, that is true. We just don't feel like doing stuff. But we'll talk about a little bit of that later on down the, in the podcast, in some other episodes that I'll be focusing on when it comes to different aura, troubleshooting and stuff like that. So one thing is really important for projectors, and this is the hardest thing for us to acknowledge, to come to terms with. But if you are not invited, it's not right. If you ignore that, you're going to be repeating the same shit over and over again. Invitations and recognition are super, super duper important to us. If we do not follow our strategy, we're going to keep on repeating a lot of cycles. And this is in career, this is in love, this is in platonic friendships, this is in a lot of things. Invitations and recognition are our lifeline. But when you don't know your projector, you spend your life wondering a few things about, like, oh, why, is this happening, or why is this happening, or why is this not happening for me? And then when you find out you're a projector, things start to make a little bit of sense. So what happens when you don't follow your bliss? I mean, not your bliss, when you don't follow your strategy. You probably start acting like a generator, and you start working harder. It's my belief that, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when I get to projector children, but because anything, and let me backtrack a little bit. Anything open, any of your open centers in your human design chart, you amplify that energy. So when you don't have any sustainable energy, no sacral center that is defined, you're going to amplify that and you're going to get burned out. Generators, that's why they love us, because we amplify energy. So when generators are around us, they like get this boost. They're like, ooh, I'm recharged. They sort of in a way burn us out, and they steal our energy from us. Even though we're a great match, projectors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, they do steal our energy a little bit, and they can be a little bit draining. So we burn out very quickly. So if you are a projector and you listen to this, and if you go to parties, if you're around people a lot, especially in the not the right circumstances, for sure, when you leave that, you will feel extremely burned out, extremely drained. You're like, damn, why do I feel like that? It's because we don't have any sustainable energy. So when people are around us, it gets amplified. Their energy gets amplified. Our energy gets amplified. And it's like, go, go, go. And then when you leave, you're like, I'm tired. So that happens a lot. So some of the things that projectors experience a lot, we're idea machines. Many projectors have tons of ideas all the time. We are idea machines. We are in the know about a lot of stuff. And because sometimes our ideas get stolen, we get very bitter. And it's not that they get stolen. And this is where the whole thing of, why we're old souls, why we've been here before. This is, my theory, but it's my study of human design. And I have a lot of theories about projectors and all of the other aura types. But it's because we can't do everything that fast. And so since we're old souls, we are so knowledgeable. I like to say that projectors are panoramic cameras. If you think about a football field, we're able to see a lot of things, a lot of pieces to the puzzle that, people can't see. We're different type of thinkers. And why we're old souls is because if you know any projector children, or if you have a projector child, talk to them and have a conversation with them, and you'll just be like, wow, this is pretty amazing. They know what they're talking about. And look at Marseille Martin. She's so like on it. She's on Blackish. She's one of the children on Blackish, and she was just in the movie Little that she executive produced. And she starred in, and she has a movie, a production deal now. And I think she's under 15. I'm not sure exactly how old she is, but that's an example of a projector child. Projector children, if you talk to them, that will, just solidify my theory of us being here before. I truly believe that in a former life, the reason why projectors are projectors is because that in former lives, we were either manifesting generators or manifestors. And in this life, we have this urge to do, to be, to act without permission so bad that in this lifetime, it was just meant for us to be projectors. And that's what kills us so much, is because we have to wait. And before finding human design, I talk to a lot of projectors all the time, and it's a constant, oh, this is why that didn't work out, because we are programmed to be generators in a way. I honestly feel that a lot of projectors are born into generator families where your mother's a generator or your father's a generator. And of course, that type of, influence is kind of, it's strong because you want to do things like your parents, or you want to learn from your parents, or your parents are your teachers. And so when you are a projector and you have parents who are, you know, constantly doing, going, getting stuff, and then you're just like, I don't feel like that, or I want to do something different. It's very challenging as a projector child, and then you get called lazy. That is an unfortunate thing that a lot of projector children hear, is that they were lazy. That was probably one of my aha moments when I, found out I was a projector. Like, oh my gosh, I just had instances, unfortunately, where my mother, I heard the word lazy a lot. And I'm far from it. Most projectors are far from it. We're actually very productive. We're very great at doing things. We just do them in a different way, and we do it in our own timing. So that is a stigma that projectors have. Projector men, I think they have it the worst, because you're in a society where men are, doers, they're fast, they're, initiators, they're providers. And so that's why projectors, I always like to say projector men need to pick up things from generators, such as mastery. Projector men work well with mastering stuff and being invited at the same time. Because it just works better for them to master something. So to have an overall goal, but then to also look at those invitations along the way. And so, I have people who come to me and say, oh, I'm dating a projector and, he doesn't have his stuff together or something like that. Or, projector men have it really bad because they really need to worry about mastery, because it is a journey for them. Sometimes projectors will get those invitations, and that's another thing about invitations. What I want to talk about is, what is an invitation? Because that's like, what does that mean? What is an invitation? Invitations can be multiple things. But what projectors need to know, that invitations are both internal and external. It doesn't necessarily mean someone always physically inviting us or recognizing us, but invitations start within us. And it's, you get that feeling to call someone, you get that feeling to do something. Even if it's not your particular authority, because some people in human design will disagree, but I have a different theory about that. Regardless of your authority, I feel that internal invitations are just as important as the external invitations. I get a lot of internal invitations, and then when I act on them, 9 times out of 10 they work out. So any projector listening to this, if you get an internal invitation, a hunch, something that says to do something, go somewhere, start something, follow that. I'm not necessarily saying that you won't change your mind, but follow that, because that's really important. What projectors really need to understand is that especially when it comes to invitations and relationships, quality over quantity. I will repeat that again. Quality over quantity. I've noticed projectors, especially projector children, teenagers, in instances in my life, there are 2 type of projectors. You have your chameleons, and then you have people who have tight circles, who run in tight circles as projectors. Nothing's wrong with either one at all, but projectors sometimes can feel isolated and can feel like outcasts or like they don't belong, and that is okay. Now that takes some time to get used to, especially my projector chameleons. I feel that I'm a projector chameleon. I've, always been that person who was cool with everyone. Growing up, I, necessarily didn't have a tight circle, but I was cool with the band kids. I was cool with the cool kids. I was cool with the nerds. I was cool with the goth kids in school. You know, I was cool with the, you know, the preps, all of that stuff. So I was a chameleon. So my circle was more of a worldly view. You know, the people who I attracted and who, you know, it was genuine friendships. And then you have your tight circle projectors who have the same base of friends that they've had for years, or the same base of, you know, people who they like to hang out with. But like I said, projectors need to focus on quality over quantity, because at times projectors don't understand why they don't have these big circles or why they don't have vast networks. That's not really our concern, because we are so useful and so knowledgeable, and we think differently. We need to go into spaces and be in spaces where we are appreciated for our minds, for what we say, where people are constantly inviting us. And a lot of projectors who I have coached and who I've worked with, it's a constant, you know, of course, and I've even had that. When am I going to get my big shot? When are things going to happen for me? How is it going to happen? And it's really about being seen and following your bliss. That's where some projectors get a little bit lost, because you're waiting for these invitations and you're not getting invited to things and you're not getting recognized. But you really need to learn how to show up to the party. And if showing up to the party makes you happy, then just arrive and put on your best shoes, put on your best outfit, you know, have your best one-liners and be ready. That whole stay ready so you don't have to get ready is extremely important when it comes to professional careers, business. When that invitation comes, when that recognition comes, you just want to be ready. Now, the great thing about invitations is that once we get invited, the invitation is whatever we want to do with them. We can pocket it, hold it, think about it. We can come back to it. We can come back around to it. It's the invitation is like an open revolving door. Once it's open, it's open. And that is the cool thing. We do have it the hardest out of the aura types, because the majority of us don't have defined throat centers. So, and even the ones that do have defined throat centers, invitations take someone else. Invitations take someone else. That takes another party. That takes someone else to do it. Now, of course, outside of the internal invitations that you get from yourself, but an invitation involves someone else. So imagine having that in the background of your mind, your subconscious, that you have to necessarily wait for someone to recognize you and to see you. That can do a lot on your self-esteem, because a lot of projectors, whether they have defined G centers, defined will centers, defined throat centers, we experience this journey of, along the way of trying to figure out our self-worth, figure out if we're good enough. A lot of projectors question whether we're good enough. Are we doing things right? Will people like this? I don't care what's in your chart. It's just something that we do, because in all projectors, regardless of parents that they do have, who allow them to be free and to be free thinkers, think the way they do, to operate in their core, we still will experience that, because our invitations, the big ones, involve other people. So those big invitations are marriage, that huge career opportunity, that invitation to start that big business that finally blows up for you. Those friendships are invitations. So they involve someone else. They involve so many external things outside of us that it's really important for projectors to work on yourself and to get to know you, so you can be safe and confident and secure in who you are. So the external things that do bring us invitations and recognition, they in a way don't matter, because you show up in the world, you constantly follow your bliss, you constantly are doing the things that you love to do. And those invitations will start coming in more frequently, because how projectors work is that we're like a beam of light. we have this thing about us. When people see us, they recognize us, they want to get to know us, but that's only when we are following our bliss. Now, projectors always ask me, what does following your bliss mean? And I'm not getting in invitations. Are you following your bliss? Are you doing the things that you actually love to do? Passion for projectors is extremely important, because we are so knowledgeable, and that's why I truly believe that we've been here before. All the projectors that I know, we have this way about us where we just get it. We just get it. We just, we understand human interaction a very different way. It's very interesting. If you have a projector friend, or if you're in a relationship with a projector, it's the way we think. If you actually can talk to a projector and have a conversation, the way we think is very different. And so when I mean we've been here before, we've lived a lot. We are when it comes to the aura types, we are probably the oldest of the souls. That's my experience from studying that. I believe that we're the oldest souls, just because of the things that projector careers that we fall into, the invitations that we fall into that make us well known, or make us money, things like that. And we come here with this sense of, I've done this before. I'm telling you, talk to a projector child who especially has like a generator parent, like a manifesting generator parent, or a pure generator parent, and you will just see their distaste for like just adult fuckery. It's pretty amazing. I've talked to projectors, he's just like I get it. I'm like, and I can remember me being a child and just looking at my parents and be like, wow, you guys are just interesting. And nothing wrong with my parents, but or talking to projector children, they just have this way about them. It's just like, yeah, you've been here before. This is not your first go round. And especially because of the way, especially when it comes to fame and recognition, what projectors become. I mean, hello, Barack Obama. Imagine him as a kid. I mean, even Michelle tells stories of them dating, and you can just tell, like, oh my gosh, she's a projector. I mean, the way he proposed to her was such a projector way. He freaking, like, I think they had a conversation on why marriage wasn't right or something. They actually got into this huge debate about it. I'm like, that's such a projector thing to do. But that's why we're old souls, is because we are just so knowledgeable about the things that we are passionate about. Even down to, I have friends who are into fashion, who are projectors, and they become craftsmen at that thing that they are into when it comes to fashion, whether it's styling, whether it's dressing, whether it's creating and sewing. We become a craftsman to that thing, because we want to learn, we want to know more, we want to know all of the details of it. Especially, if you are 3-5 projector, or if you have a 5 anywhere in your profile as a projector, you just want to know more. So projectors are your friend now. Projectors are very good to have on a team. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of team building in another podcast, but you want a projector. If you have a projector friend, or if you have someone who is a projector in your life, whether it's a coach or a mentor, it's good to have them, because we literally see things differently. And something that I learned from one of my human design mentors way back in the day is, because I would always struggle when I got my coaching certification. I was just like, oh, well, I'm having trouble and all of that stuff, because I'm not, doing this, and I'm trying to show people how to do it. And, he immediately was like, nope, that's not how it works for us. It's, we are literally do as I say, not as I do. And that is something for projectors to take away from this. Sometimes that's what really stops us, or really puts a pause on our passions, really puts a pause on the gifts that we do have, the gifts that we're hiding from people, is because we always want to make sure that we are at its best, that it's at its, it's at its, pure, just the best that we can get at it. And then we want to show it to the world. Because of that kind of, internal subconscious insecurity of all your life, you've been like waiting for other people to recognize or invite you. So of course, when you have this little thing that you're working on, whether it's in your career or in a business, you are afraid to move forward because you're like, will they like it? Are they going to love it? Are people going to buy from me? Am I going to be a good teacher? Am I going to be a good manager? All of this stuff. But it's really do as I say, not as I do, because that's the gift in projectors, that we have that. Sometimes projectors can see things for other people. I know that I can with my, psychic gifts and things like that. And I'm always spot on with stuff. And the way things come to me is just kind of like, oh, wow, and when I talk to people and things come up and I'm just like, oh, why would that come up? And then I tell them about it and they're like, oh yeah, that did happen or something like that. But I say that to say, projectors, if you walk away with anything from this episode, the first is stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And the second is do as I say and not as I do. And hopefully that will help you on your journey to showing your gifts to the world. Projectors are so knowledgeable. We have so many gifts. We can help you see things in different ways. I know that that's what I do with my clients, with people who I work with, when I've, worked at jobs where I was just like, this, clerk or something like that. And then all of a sudden people would come to me like, hey, AC, I have a question for you. And it would be like the randomest things like, I'm having this issue. What do you think about it? And that is, of course, perfect invitations for us. And we have those experiences in our lives and we ignore them. Projectors have invitations, or like I would like to call silent invitations. It's like little gems that the universe has left you all throughout your life where you'll think about stuff and you'll just be like, oh yeah, that was an invitation. So if you are a projector and you just found out that you are a projector, look back at your life, do some, inner work, in which I'm going to, be talking more about that. And doing some courses and things like that when it comes to deconditioning. But do some work and really look at your life where the things that worked out for you, they probably were invitations, whether internal or external. And look at the things that really turned to shit or the cycles that you're repeating now. It's probably not an invitation at all. So you want to make sure that you are on the path to alignment, on the path to your purpose, by looking at what invitations are and what they're not. Projectors, we like to, we want to do stuff. We want to just do. And it's a challenge because that's not what we're here to do. We're here to wait to be invited. And in the meantime, follow our bliss. Now, a little thing about the bliss kind of thing. If you don't know what you love, how can the universe present you with opportunities and invitations to be recognized? You have to really start figuring that out. So, I say that to say, projectors, remember those two things that I said earlier, and to start inviting yourself into your life pretty much, and, discovering you, and to, be the best projector that you can. And if you have a projector friend, invite them. They might say, and this is another thing, they might say no 100 times, but invite them the 101 time, and then they might show up. They might come. Don't count them out. Don't not invite them because they're like, oh, well, she's not going to come anyway. Invite them to life. Invite them to things. Invite them into your life. So that's my projector episode, and I'll be talking more aura specific stuff. Next up, of course, I'm going to hit the manifestors, and then reflectors your last, but no worries. So once again, if you haven't, no help my aura today, but if you have an aura specific type of question that you want to know, you can email me and help my aura, and we can talk about it on here. I'll answer your question and we'll do that. And then another thing, something that is going to be a new segment that I'm introducing, and it's called Aura Analysis. And what will happen is it'll be you and I on an episode. if you decide to participate, I will put the link in my bio and in the show notes here, and we will have a discussion. So it'll be a little bit of coaching, it'll be a little bit of my intuition, but it will be a whole lot of clarity for you. So you come with one question or one problem that you're facing. I will, of course, before look at your chart, and we will discuss how to get you the answer that you need in that moment on the episode. You will stay anonymous. I'll edit out your name if I accidentally say it. You don't have to say your name, only if your voice is super distinct and people know about your voice. If they listen, they'll know it's you. But it's called aura analysis, and I would love to invite anybody who is willing to, to talk about something that issue that you're having, whether it's relationships, whether it's business, whether it's your career, whether it's a friend in something, or whether something that you're struggling with internally. What I am good at is ideas. I am good at problem solving. Those are literally my gifts. I am good at strategy, and I want to use this platform and help people to solve their problems. So it's not therapy, because I'm not a therapist. Some people say that I'm their therapist, but it's definitely not that. But it's, like I said, it's a little coaching, it's a little intuition stuff, and it's a whole lot of clarity for you. So it's called Aura Analysis, and it's going to be a separate episode that myself and whoever's willing to participate will come on, and we will solve your problem together and help you decondition it and break it down based off of your chart on an episode. And it'll be one question, some clarity, and just a whole lot of help for you. So let me know if you're interested in that. I'll put the link in the show notes here so you can fill out the form. And then you can also, the link will be in my bio, in my Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram yet, please do at AC Brown. And until next time, make sure you have a great week filled with good vibes and great energy. Thank you for listening to another episode of Is My Aura on Straight. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at AC Brown, and also check out my website for products and services at www.acbrown.com. And until we meet again, make sure you have a great week filled with good vibes and good energy.